Hi, my name is NUNZIATA, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film, and also proud FENIX Global Artist Ambassador. Today, I am so excited to be speaking with acclaimed music producer and DJ, Nick NEUTRONZ. For more on Nick, you can read more about him right below this video. But in the meantime, here's a sneak peek at the incredible talent of Nick.
Now look at us, we rich as fuck.
Well, hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Well, the audience has got a little sneak peek of your incredible talent overseas in Japan. Talk to me a little bit about that experience.
After my wife and I were married, we honeymooned in Japan. And I had a couple friends in Japan. One of them is a musician. He goes by Mecha Godzilla, and he is a cat from Long Island who actually went to Japan and rapped in Japanese and did some shows and some fashion shows. And he linked me with a promoter for a venue called Ageha, which is a big arena in Japan. And I got to play a Halloween party there. So it was a really, really crazy sound stage. It was an amazing array of speakers dropped from the ceiling. It was an amazing time. I had a really good time.
That's amazing, Nick. Well, you know, with FENIX, a lot of our artists are over in the East, in Japan and China. I've had the great pleasure of interviewing many of them, some in the pop world and our music producers such as yourself. But Nick, I want to deep dive into what you do because you're an acclaimed music producer and DJ, and you've had music placed with, oh, I don't know, some up-and-comers like Eminem. Talk to me about that experience.
I was interning in a studio for a producer named Bang Out. Bang Out made 50 Cent's Disco Inferno. He made the car wash theme for that for the Pixar movie. He did some stuff with Lloyd Banks. He did some stuff with Akon. And so a writer came in to work on a session with an artist. And the writer, during a lunch break, asked me if I wanted to produce a song for him, and he kind of gave me the rundown of the song and gave me the chorus, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I can make a beat for that. So I made him the beat and gave him the file, and 2 years later, he called me back and said, Eminem wants the song. A whirlwind of contracts and lawyer fights ensued, and then the song ended up on the record. I got a drum programming credit. The songwriter himself, he took the production credit, and Eminem took all the songwriting. I don't know if that's the kind of thing we're going to be saying in this interview, but that's the way the music industry works sometimes, you know? Even though I just got the drum programming credit, having the ability to make beats on that level of exposure definitely opened up a lot of doors for me. So that was probably the really, really big claim to fame. That album won a Grammy for Best Rap Album. So a couple of my friends hit me up and said, hey, congrats on your Grammy by proxy. So that was, that's cool. A great time in my life.
That's amazing. And also, what a great story, because I think it should affirm for artists out there that if you're ever given an opportunity that you might even be like a little scared about, just say yes and you'll kind of figure it out along the way. And who knows, that you might get a call 2 years later like you did. And I want to go and deep dive into a little bit about, and I deep dived into it because I knew nothing about it, this emotional electronic music called wave. Talk to me a little bit about wave and why and how you vibe so well with it.
So wave music was a name that was given to a lot of music that was really already out before wave. Pretty much any time that artists were blending a few different genres, but the colors of it were very emotional and sort of like a deep sort of brooding vibe. It could be called wave. And, you know, you could go back through the history of hip hop and electronic music and find all kinds of trip hop, drum and bass, trance music that you could play at a wave show and it would do really well. I'd say about maybe 5 years ago, I was paying a lot of attention to this label Terrorhythm, which is still my favorite label. And Terrorhythm at the time was this guy Plastician in the UK. He's a really early dubstep, early UK grime, and early wave sort of producer, supporter, community builder. And so he was releasing a lot of future bass at the time. I don't know if you're familiar with future bass. Future bass is like heavy sort of EDM trap drums, very sparkly melodies, very melodic, but maybe not so much an emotive thing. Future bass tends to be more triumphant. Wave tends to be more sad, hopeful. Or it can also be now, now wave has kind of evolved because bigger and bigger venues, arenas are playing it. There's a big festival called Hardfest that just happened this last weekend, and a couple of my buddies that are producers in wave had their songs played at Hardfest. And now we've been paying attention to wave for like 4 or 5 years, and now we're seeing venues with 100,000 people, everyone with their hands up, to really excited about hard wave. And hard wave is like wave music but made for festival stages. My attraction to wave music really was that it was a style of music that was using technology to make something that was really big. The environments evoked by wave are huge, but it wasn't made necessarily to tear your head off. It could be made to make you sad. It could be made to make you think about your existence. So this idea that you would have music made for sound systems, but that the emotion was much more fluid than let's go hard, was the thing that really attracted me. I mean, I've been a huge fan of hip hop all my life. So a lot of these hip hop drum programming, sort of dirty South trap style drum kit and patterning mixed with these trance saws and trance basses was really everything that I wanted in music. And in fact, if I go back and listen to music that I was making in 2002, a lot of it has that same kind of blend of emotive electronic trance that I was listening to at the time, and then kind of boom bap drums or kind of hip hop drums. So that kind of synergy was really, really inspiring to me.
So you basically knew that this wave thing was going to be a big thing before it became a big thing. You had a gut feeling.
I don't know about that. I knew that this corner of genre blending and bending was what I really wanted, but I had a kind of bittersweet moment as the sounds got bigger and bigger and bigger for festival stages and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then my homies that make that style of music, I love their music, and I love that they're getting this huge burst in attention. But it's more that that's not why I came to wave. I came to wave because it was a place where the people that were interested in building sonic worlds were doing it. And if you played it on a huge system, it would just wash you in this emotion. But it was when you go to these shows with more what they call OG wave or original wave, it's more like people are just like this, like, kind of just swaying and thinking.
And correct me if I'm wrong, sorry for interrupting, but it seems like it's less about, someone goes on, plays a song, clap, but it's more of like an experience, almost like an emotional, and I'm sure for a lot of people, a spiritual experience, to kind of like take a breath and allow their mind to just kind of release.
Absolutely. That's the vibe at the OG wave shows. And so the thing is that style and that environment, one of the things like people would listen to wave and they'd be like, sometimes it's trance, sometimes it's trap, sometimes it's drum and bass, sometimes it's dubstep, but it always seems to be in the same fictional world. It always seems to be in the same realm of science fiction and fantasy. And one of the things that you'll find with all the people who make wave is they all like played RPGs growing up, love anime, like love, there's just this love science fiction. Some of them are like kind of hobbyists in physics and chemistry and stuff like that, people that are just really interested in this kind of existential take.
It's a vibe. It seems like everyone that was kind of interested in that same kind of conversation, that same kind of world, when they heard this, they were like, that's in my bone marrow. I don't know what it is, but it's giving me the feels.
Exactly. That's exactly how it was. And then people said, I exist in that world, but what I'm interested in is size and power. And they just took the sound, and it's still a realm of science fiction or fantasy or something, but it's huge. And it's really what's really great about hard wave is that the narrative is still there. It still exists in that world that people made when they created wave. But as it becomes more and more commercially successful and more of a festival sound, of course you get more and more people making it for superficial reasons, and some of that stuff is really good because they're able to copy the sound exactly as they hear. But for somebody like me, that I'd say maybe like 5 to 10% of the music that I make currently could fly in a hard wave scene, but for the most of the part, I keep it pretty chill, and more just kind of like, I don't know, like Drake beats if he were to go pretty futuristic. Like that's kind of more my style.
Well, Nick, what I also love in what you're mentioning is this. By the way, you should give a TEDx talk on all this, because your enthusiasm has me fucking hooked. Excuse my French. I won't bleep that out. Whatever. But what I also love too, and this is something that is a reminder for me and maybe people who out there don't know much about hard wave and the wave universe, is that it's all a form of narrative and storytelling. And that if you look at the great music of our time, whether it be hard wave, American Songbook, pop, hip hop, rock, soul, whatever, the ones that stand the test of time are the ones that have somewhat of a strong narrative.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Nick, listen, I'm so grateful to have spoken with you. But before we go, I want to know, do you have anything coming out or that you've been working on that we can keep an eye out for from you?
I have a few songs that are that I'm shopping around to labels. Some of those labels, Vibe Digital, Liquid Ritual, those are two wave labels that I follow and hope to place music on. I'm definitely going to be self-releasing music once a month, no matter what. So one of the songs that I hope to place is called Raw Power, and another one is Be My Twilight. So I have one, either it's gonna be called Be My Twilight or Twilight, and then one called Raw Power. Other than that, I have like hundreds and hundreds of unreleased songs that I never know what's gonna happen. I mean, I send maybe 10 or 20 of these things to my friends, and they say, okay, we want that one, we're gonna release that one, and then I have no idea what songs those are going to be. I'd never know. Like,
Listen,
what is this?
When I talk to friends who aren't in show business, no matter what, it's like, in life, you might win a few scratch offs, but we're all waiting for that big, jackpot. But it's kind of the fun of it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. In
Even
some
though
ways, I
it's
feel
freaking nuts.
Yeah. No, sometimes I feel like, I already got my scratch off. I mean, my Eminem, him winning that Grammy, that. I kind of like, now I just kind of like coast. I make a few
Nick,
thousand
no one
bucks
can ever
off that.
take that away from you. You know what I mean?
It's true. But what are we doing tomorrow? That's always the question I got to ask,
Nick, I'm the same way. I got you. Well, listen, Nick, I'm so grateful to have met you. Looking forward to keeping in touch. And everyone who's watching this, for more on Nick, you can read more about him right below this video. And Nick, God bless you. And thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate taking the time. Thank you.
In the digital age, artists and bands struggle to make a living. In fact, only a small number of artists can live off their craft. For the 98% of artists that don't have the luxury of being signed to a label, it's tough. But artists deserve to live off their art. Wherever you are around the world, appreciation of music does not change. FENIX brings bands and their fans together, whilst allowing bands to properly monetize their passion. The FENIX app will directly connect bands and fans with no need for middlemen. We're utilizing the blockchain to give the power back to the artist once and for all. Join FENIX, join the change.